Iran is in panic mode because, according to military sources, America just started loading bombs onto stealth bombers in January 2026. And these aren't regular bombs. They're 30,000-pound bunker busters reportedly capable of penetrating 200 feet underground before exploding. Based on intelligence assessments, the last time America used these weapons, Iran's nuclear sites at Natanz and Fordo were severely damaged in one night. But trust me, that strike was just a warm-up. Now President Trump is building what he calls a massive armada. Reports indicate dozens of JDAMs are being loaded onto B-2s and B-50s under cover of darkness. 2 carrier strike groups are reportedly racing toward the Persian Gulf right now. Over 150 combat aircraft and thousands of troops are flooding the region. This is believed to be the largest American buildup since the 2003 Iraq invasion. Stick with me, because what happens next could ignite the entire Middle East. Let me take you back to what sources describe as the night of June 21st, 2025. According to military reports, 7 B-2 stealth bombers took off from Missouri with one mission: destroy Iran's nuclear facilities. They reportedly flew 18 hours straight across the globe without stopping. Mid-air refueling happened 3 times during the journey. At approximately 2 a.m. local time, they allegedly entered Iranian airspace completely undetected. What they carried was terrifying: 14 B-52 massive Ordnance Penetrator bombs, according to Pentagon sources. Each bomb weighed 30,000 pounds and stretched 20 feet long. These monsters could reportedly smash through 200 feet of solid rock before exploding. Iran built Natanz and Fordo deep inside mountains thinking they were safe. They were wrong. While B-2s struck from above, Tomahawk missiles reportedly launched from submarines and warships. According to intelligence assessments, over 24 cruise missiles destroyed air defenses and the Isfahan site. By sunrise, U.S. officials assessed that Iran's nuclear capability was severely degraded. But here's what nobody expected: Iran struck back hard. One day later, on June 23, 2025, Iran reportedly fired back. According to regional intelligence, ballistic missiles launched from Iranian territory toward Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. This isn't just any base. It's the largest U.S. military installation in the Middle East. Over 11,000 American and coalition personnel work there every single day. It houses Central Command's forward headquarters and the aircraft that coordinated the strikes against Iran. Alarms screamed across the base as missiles streaked through the sky. Personnel rushed to shelters while Patriot batteries tried to shoot them down. For those tense minutes, thousands of lives depended on missile defense systems that had never faced a real Iranian attack. Then the explosions came. Satellite imagery later reportedly confirmed something shocking. One Iranian missile got through. According to intelligence sources, it destroyed a cutting-edge communications hub deep inside the facility. The Pentagon downplayed the damage publicly, but the message was clear: Iran could reach American bases and draw blood. That single strike changed everything about how the U.S. plans the next attack. Because now they know Iran will hit back, and some of those missiles will get through. So what happened between June 2025 and now that brought us back to the edge of war? Here's what most people don't know: diplomacy almost worked. On April 12, 2025, President Trump reportedly sent a letter directly to Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. He proposed nuclear negotiations with a 60-day deadline to reach an agreement. For a brief moment, war seemed avoidable. Diplomats from both sides actually sat down and talked. But here's the problem: while negotiators were talking in one room, Iranian centrifuges were spinning in another. According to intelligence assessments, underground facilities kept producing weapons-grade uranium even during the peace talks. Trump demanded Iran dismantle its nuclear program first, then get sanctions relief. Iran demanded sanctions relief first, then they'd talk about restrictions. Neither side would budge. The 60-day deadline was impossibly short. Most nuclear deals take years to negotiate. Satellite imagery reportedly showed construction activity at Iranian nuclear sites throughout the talks. Western intelligence sources believe Tehran wasn't negotiating in good faith. They were buying time. When the talks collapsed, diplomats knew exactly what was coming next, and they were right. On June 13, 2025, Israel launched massive airstrikes against Iran. The 12-day war had begun. But after the ceasefire in June, something unexpected started happening underground in Iran. After the ceasefire in June 2025, everyone waited to see what Iran would do next. By November 2025, nuclear monitoring organizations released their assessments. The news seemed good at first. Natanz, Fordo, and Isfahan remained largely destroyed according to satellite analysis. Images showed minimal reconstruction activity. Operation Midnight Hammer appeared to have worked. But here's the catch. Minimal doesn't mean none. Intelligence analysts started noticing something disturbing in the satellite photos. Slow, steady rebuilding was happening at sites that were supposed to be eliminated. For the military planners who designed the strike, this felt like watching a fire reignite after you thought you put it out. All those billions in weapons, all that precision, all those flight hours, and Iran was already coming back. Here's what makes this so difficult. Iran's nuclear program isn't just buildings and machines. It's thousands of trained scientists and engineers who survive every bombing campaign. Even if you destroy the facilities, the knowledge remains. Intelligence estimates suggest Iran could rebuild basic enrichment capability in 12 to 18 months if left alone. But here's the really alarming part. Iran was rebuilding despite knowing America could strike again. That meant one of three things. They trusted their defenses, they doubted America's will, or they wanted nukes badly enough to accept any cost. All three possibilities demanded a response. And in January 2026, President Trump reportedly decided that response would be overwhelming. On January 12, 2026, something major reportedly happened at Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. According to military sources, the United States built a brand new command center designed for one purpose: tracking every Iranian missile in real time. It's called the Middle East Air Defense Combined Defense Operations Center, and it connects 17 nations into one massive defense network. Here's how it works. When Iran launches a missile, satellites detect it instantly. That data feeds into radars across multiple countries at the same time. Every screen in the command center shows the complete picture of the battlefield, launch sites, missile trajectories, intercept opportunities, everything in real time. If they fail, cities burn. This reportedly links American Patriot and THAAD systems with Israeli and Gulf state defenses. It's the kind of technology that didn't exist during previous Middle East conflicts. For the personnel working inside, the pressure is unimaginable. Their decisions could stop missiles from hitting cities, or fail to prevent attacks that kill thousands. But here's what this command center really tells us. America expects a massive Iranian counterattack. You don't build a 17-nation missile defense network unless you know you're going to need it. Remember, Iran reportedly hit Al Udeid in June 2025. This time, the US is determined that nothing gets through. But coordination is just one piece of the puzzle. By January 20th, 2026, the real firepower started arriving. B-52 bombers touching down at Al Udeid. And what these legendary aircraft bring to the fight is absolutely devastating. Around January 20th, 2026, the heavy hitters arrived. According to flight tracking sources, B-52 Stratofortress strategic bombers touched down at Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. Now here's the difference. B-2s rely on stealth to sneak past defenses. B-50s don't sneak. They bring overwhelming firepower from safe distances. Each B-52 can carry over 70,000 pounds of ordnance. That's cruise missiles, JDAMs, and conventional bombs loaded onto a single aircraft. Just 4 B-52s can deliver more explosive power than most countries have in their entire military. These aircraft have been dropping bombs since the 1950s, longer than most crew members' grandparents have been alive. They've shaped every major conflict from Vietnam to Afghanistan, and they're still being upgraded with modern precision weapons and electronics. Here's what makes them deadly. B-52s can launch cruise missiles from hundreds of miles away. The aircraft never enters enemy airspace, but the targets still get destroyed. For Iran's military planners, seeing B-52s arrive means seeing a legend that's been destroying enemies for 70 years. Now imagine this. B-2 stealth bombers penetrate defended airspace quietly. B-52s follow up with massive saturation strikes from standoff range. Iran couldn't defend against both at the same time, but getting these bombers into position was just the beginning. Between January 18th and 26th, 2026, something even bigger reportedly started happening. A flood of transport aircraft arriving across the region, and what they were carrying revealed the true scale of what's coming. Between January 18th and 26th, 2026, satellite imagery reportedly tracked something massive. At least 42 heavy cargo planes landed at Middle Eastern airfields in just 8 days. These weren't passenger planes. They were C-17, C-5s, and MC-13OJ Special Operations aircraft. And they were carrying the backbone of war: weapons, equipment, fuel, and supplies. Every bomb that gets dropped needs a logistics chain stretching thousands of miles. Those 42 planes were building that chain for immediate use. According to logistics analysts, here's what they brought: pallets of JDAMs, spare parts, fuel containers, medical supplies, and communications gear. The MC-130J is a special operations variant used for covert missions and infiltrating personnel. Its presence suggests special forces are positioning for potential ground operations. 42 aircraft in 8 days can sustain major combat operations for weeks. This matches the logistics surge before the 2003 invasion of Iraq. The cargo crews flying these missions rarely get attention, but without them, combat collapses within days. Every pallet they deliver could soon be destroying targets inside Iran. But even with all this firepower assembling, the real symbol of American power hadn't arrived yet. On January 26, 2026, something even bigger entered the region: the USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group, and it brought over 70 combat aircraft with it. On January 26, 2026, the real powerhouse entered the region. According to naval tracking sources, the USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group crossed into Central Command's area of operations. This ship was supposed to deploy to the Indo-Pacific, but Iran changed those plans. Carrier Strike Group 3 brought Carrier Air Wing 9 with over 70 combat aircraft on a single vessel. That includes F-35C, Lightning II stealth fighters, and F/A-18E/F Super Hornets. 3 Arleigh Burke-class destroyers escorted the carrier: USS Spruance, USS Michael Murphy, and USS Frank E. Peterson Jr. Each destroyer carries Tomahawk cruise missiles and advanced air defense systems. For the thousands of sailors aboard, this redirection meant something terrifying. Families back home wouldn't see them for months longer than planned, and the deployment just became far more dangerous. Indo-Pacific meant routine exercises. Middle East means potential combat against a nation that's already killed American personnel. Here's the significant part. This is reportedly the 5th time in 2 years a carrier was diverted from Asia to the Middle East because of Iran. The F-35C fighters aboard give America stealth capabilities Iran can't reliably detect. A single carrier strike group has more air power than most entire countries. But the Abraham Lincoln wasn't coming alone. The USS Theodore Roosevelt was also one per route, meaning 2 carrier strike groups heading toward the Persian Gulf. That's over 150 naval combat aircraft. Add the B-2s, B-52s, and land-based fighters already there, and you have what's believed to be the largest American force assembled since the 2003 Iraq invasion. Now the world waited to see if this armada would actually be used. On January 28, 2026, President Trump gave his answer, and it shocked everyone. He warned Iran publicly that a massive armada was approaching, and it was able to rapidly fulfill its mission. His demands were crystal clear: completely dismantle Iran's nuclear weapons program and stop violently suppressing domestic protesters. No negotiations, no compromises, no room for error. This wasn't private diplomacy. This was a public threat backed by visible military force. The word armada wasn't random. It carries historical weight from the 1588 Spanish Armada. Military analysts noted rapidly fulfill meant strike packages were ready, not in days, but in hours. For Iran's leadership, this was credible because they'd already experienced American bombers 7 months earlier. Operation Midnight Hammer proved what B-2s could do. Thousands of sailors, Marines, and special operations forces converging on the Persian Gulf. This isn't routine posturing. This is a force positioned for immediate combat. Here's the terrifying part. Both sides may be trapped by their own positions. America can't back down after assembling this visible force without looking weak. Iran can't surrender without appearing defeated. Both nations may be sleepwalking toward a war neither truly wants. Tonight, airmen are loading JDAMs onto bombers under hangar lights. Sailors are standing watch on carriers, scanning for incoming threats. Their lives hang on decisions being made thousands of miles away. Remember what sources describe as those 7 B-2s that struck Natanz and Fordo in June 2025? Now there's an entire armada, capable of striking with unprecedented speed and violence. Iran is watching, and what happens next will echo through history for generations. From Operation Midnight Hammer to the massive armada of January 2026, you just saw the complete picture based on intelligence reports and military analysis. B-2s, B-52s, carrier strike groups, Tomahawk missiles, and special forces, all positioned for combat that could start with a single order. If this opened your eyes, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Drop a comment. Do you think this ends in diplomacy or war? The world is watching, and what happens next will affect us all.